Hey guys, Ty Streetman here from Biotopia Thai, and I wanted to show you a project I'm working on, which is a bit different from what I might normally do. So, firstly, this is a cool tank. It's had a bit of a history. It originally came from my friend George Farmer. It's a Wazi-style line 125, and he donated it very kindly to my friend Liani of Nature Mariposa, and we had it in her apartment for a while, set up with various fishes and plants. However, she's moving some things around. She's actually inherited a very nice 75p aquarium from me, which we planted up recently and which is growing in really well. And we needed to rehome this. And I was thinking, well, I had taken the big tank out of here in the kitchen, but it needs a tank in here. I have to apologize, I'm filming a little bit ad hoc. I don't have a big camera right now. My DSLR died. I haven't managed to replace it yet. So I'm filming on my phone, so I apologize if the quality is not perfect. But I thought, well, I've got this tank, I've got a project idea, and I want to share it with you. Basically, I've been looking at a lot of Takashi Amano's older aquascapes from the early 90s. And there's a number that really grabbed me. And there was one I particularly really like, and a few people have posted this one, and I'll throw it up here and you guys can see. But I was thinking something along those lines, specifically in a tank like this, which has this painted black background, it's black furniture. It's got a lid, which is quite useful in the kitchen, and don't have fish jumping out, don't have oils getting in from cooking. I'm running a Wazi Biomaster 600 filter on here, and there's going to be CO2. I wanted to do this properly. I thought, well, the tank has seen better days. It's been moved around, it's been loved, and it's still loved, but I want to make it into a showpiece. So I thought, well, what can I do? So I took my idea to Dave Pierce at Aquarium Gardens, which is my local aquascaping shop, which I'm so lucky to have nearby. It's only 20 minutes from my house. I said, Dave, this is the kind of thing I want to do. And he said, well, if you're going to do it, you've got to do it properly. So I've invested in some ADA Amazonia soil and some ADA power sand, and I'm using some of the JBL volcano rock underneath. So there's really good substrate mix in there. It's going to be CO2 on here. The light, I'm not using the light that originally came with this. I've actually stuck on a Chihiros WRGB 60 centimeter vivid light, and that should support everything that I want to grow. And I've very kindly been given a whole bunch of plants from Maidenhead Aquatics at Woodbridge, who are supplying the plants. I wanted something a bit more old school. I've got a couple from Aquarium Gardens as well, along with some bits of wood that Dave picked out for me. Still not entirely sure which fish are going in here. I've got some very nice rummy nose tetras. Perhaps the tank is maybe a little small for them, but I think that'd be okay. I haven't got a lot of them. And the idea is to have a really densely planted display. So when you're sitting here in my kitchen, you're looking at this beautiful, luscious tank, lots of textures, some nice colors going on, really old style Amano scapes. And people may know me more as a biotope guy or a sort of natural style aquarium guy, but you give me an Amano tank from 1992, sometimes they look a bit chaotic, they don't look that aquascaped, and sometimes almost a bit simplistic, but they always look lush, and the colors are great, the fish seem happy, plants are flourishing. So I want to try and aim for something like that. Now, as I'm using my phone, it's a little bit tricky to sort of film each and every step, so I might just do a time lapse of me going through the process. And once it's set up and done, we'll do another video, and then we'll do a follow-up at some point. But, this is another one of these projects that's made possible because of my friends in the hobby. George Farmer, who so generously donated this to Liani, who then very kindly let me take it over. The light is originally from Pete over at Riverwood Aquatics, who kindly gave it to me. Filter originally from Wazi, sponsored for my book project. More on that later. And support from Aquarium Gardens. I'm support from Maidenhead Aquatics Woodbridge. I'm really lucky. And you may be noticing I'm sporting this amazing t-shirt, which is from a wonderful guy, Meme Karan, is his Instagram, and you can find him on YouTube as well. He, Beta Maharaj, I probably pronounced that incorrectly, but he very kindly sent this to me. He takes the most amazing videos of fishes and plants in India, in the wild. Really worth checking out. So I thought, well, I better put this on. I've got to look the part. It's a grey day. The light isn't too bad for filming. There might be some reflections. I do apologise. There's skylights in my kitchen. Can't do anything about that. I've put up a black sheet to see if we can keep it at least okay. It's not going to be all too slick, but it will be authentic if nothing else. And hopefully at the end we'll have a cool result and something that does at least look in part like Amano's original designs, something where the plants are really, really doing well and where the fish feel at home. So it has to be a great habitat for the fish as well as showcasing the plants and catering to their needs. I mentioned my book. A lot of people have been asking me about this, and I appreciate it because it shows people are interested. Basically, I only recently got the manuscript back from my publishers. I submitted it to them in July 2023, and they have sent it back to me last month because it took them a long time to work through it, and there's still a little bit of work they want me to do, such as cutting quite a few words, and we have to put in the photo placements and the captions, but it is going forward. Again, I appreciate many people have pre-ordered it and they get an email saying it's delayed, it's delayed. It must be really frustrating. It's very frustrating for me because I don't know when it's been delayed. I don't really make any decisions about the book. That's in the hands of the publishers. So then everyone comes to me and says, hey, what's going on? And I feel I've let everybody down. And that's really hard because I worked incredibly hard on this book. I put my life and soul into it. And I had hoped it would be ready 2023 at the latest. And here we are, spring 2025. All I can say is that the longer it takes, the better it will be. And one point I have pointed out to people is that as soon as the cover up for the book was done, the publisher put it for sale on pre-order on Amazon way back at the end of 2021, I think. And so that sort of meant that people have been ordering it for a long time and it's still not with them. And I appreciate that's really very frustrating. So I apologize for that. And I ask again for your patience and I thank you for your trust. And I hope in the meantime, I'm going to put up some new videos. I haven't been very active on YouTube recently. I've had a new job. I had no time. I'm looking at lots of screens during the day. And I don't want to be fiddling around with things in the evening, but I owe it to all the people who follow my content, especially now that I've got over 19,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is incredible. So thank you to everyone. I will post some stuff soon about my recent expedition to Brazil, where I got to see ember tetras and penguin tetras in the wild, which was fantastic. And I've got a few things lined up later this year. I should be going back out to the States to give talks to aquarium clubs in St. Louis and Chicago. Hopefully next year, get out to Canada, give a talk there. I'm plotting another Brazil trip at the beginning of next year. And maybe in October, there's the possibility to go out to India for a brief trip, try and get into the Western Ghats with one of my good friends who's from there. And maybe even meet up with Betta and go and find zebra danios in the wild. So lots of things going on, but I will make a really great effort to keep the content coming. And I just want to thank everyone for your support. It means a lot to me. So I'll get on with this. We'll do the time lapse, and at the end we'll see what's going on. All right, see you in a bit, guys. Okay guys, so there we have it, a Wazi style line 125. It's going to have lots of bits of Riccia floating around and some bits of Glosso popping up, I'm sure. But it's been planted up in a old school Takashi Amano style display. We'll see how it fills out. I'm confident. Once I've got the CO2 running on here, get everything going. I need to change the pipe work at some point, but eventually that will be hidden by plants, but I may go for a black set of pipe work so it's not so visible, and get something so I can angle it maybe a bit better. But one thing I always like is when I first set up a tank and you look at it and you're like, well, that kind of looks average, and then you hopefully come back some weeks and months later, and it's looking completely different. So I'm hoping there'll be a nice follow-up video showing a very different display. And well, I'm quite pleased with it. I thought I'd talk through the plants. All the plants, bar one pot of Glosso, came from Maidenhead Aquatics at Woodbridge. They ordered in the plants for me. I told them the ones I wanted, and they ordered them. So, and there's one other plant that is mine, which is this Microsorum Theropus Java fern that I had growing in a terrarium upstairs. I've put it in here, we'll see how it does. So just going through the plants quickly. At the front, we've got Glossostigma eletnoides, Glosso. That'll be a sort of carpet. I've tied Riccia onto this wood. It wasn't in the best condition, so it didn't smell great when I opened it, but some of it seems to be okay. So we'll see what pulls through, and whatever doesn't, I'll get some more at some point. Then I've got Ludwigia brevipes, which is like Aquarta here, which should hopefully go a nice sort of orangey red. And to complement that, on the other side, I've got Didiplis Deandra, which also goes a sort of red, orange colour, hopefully. Both quite fine leaves, stem plants, sort of mid-ground things. Going to let them run a bit to the foreground. Then on each side, kind of flanking them, I've got Maiaca fluviatilis. This is a plant I tend to struggle to grow, actually, so we'll see how it goes. It's like soft water. I live in a very hard water area, so we'll see what happens. If anything doesn't thrive, I will substitute for something else. And behind the Maiaca, I've got Kabomba aquatica, regular Kabomba, which again is a plant that sort of doesn't always like hard water, but we'll see how it does. And nestled in each sort of corner, coming diagonally forward, I've got Ludwigia inclinatus, one of my absolute favourite plants. Beautiful, beautiful red plant. I'm going to see how it does. If it doesn't work, I will replace it with some Ludwigia glandulosa, something else, sort of really nice red accents. I've got a tiny bit of Rotala Vietnam, not Limnophila Vietnam, Rotala Vietnam, which I've had in the past. Again, soft water species, we'll see how it does. I may do something to keep the water in here a bit more acidic, but I've got that right in the back. And then the main plant in the center, which will hopefully get quite large and spill out, provide loads of soft textures, is Limnophila aquatica, which is a lovely plant. Again, right now, doesn't look like much, but hopefully it should get these beautiful, big, bushy, soft, fluffy forms, and you'll have this nice gradient from sort of rambling carpet into fine leaf stems, into really nice, fluffy textures, accented by some red, and hopefully the Riccia, if it goes, I'm just going to let it run riot, and Java fern as a sort of off-center piece in the middle. We'll see how it goes. I've got relatively high hopes. It's sitting in the ADA Amazonia soil, which is on top of the ADA Power Sand version 2, I think, and that's on top of the JBL volcano substrate. So it's good substrate. I'll get the CO2 running on there soon, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully with the Chihiros light, it'll be great. So we'll see. ADA Amazonia does produce quite a lot of ammonia, they say. So there's going to be loads and loads of water changes, and it may be a while before I put any fish in here, but we'll see how it goes. I still haven't quite decided on fishes. I've sort of been thinking, I've got some rummy noses. I've got 8 rummy noses that, they look quite nice in here. Or phantom tetras, which are really lovely, Hyphospricon sweglersi. Or maybe head and tail like tetras, something a bit more supple, but still could be nice. Or something else. Maybe you guys have a suggestion. So we'll see. We'll see what you say. But yeah, it's going to be really lush, and hopefully we'll sit here in the evenings. Now it's getting into spring. We'll have more light later into the evening, but as it gets dark, the tank will really start to sort of take over in the room here, and there'll be all this lovely, luscious life going on. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll come back with an update video at some point, and we'll see how everything's growing in or not. If the Riccia has all turned to mush and everything has melted, so be it. Challenge accepted. We'll see how it goes. But as always, thank you for your support, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Take care.